People's Television Network, Inc., is the flagship government television network owned by the Philippine government under the helm of the Presidential Communications Office. Its head office, studios and transmitter are located at Broadcast Complex, Visayas Avenue, Barangay Vasra, Diliman, Quezon City. History: the country's government television network began operations in April 1974 as government television through the National Media Production Center. The government channel was first headed by Lito Gorispa and later by the then press secretary during the Marcos administration, Francisco Tartad. It was renamed Maharlika Broadcasting System in 1980 under the leadership of NMPC Minister Gregorio Sandana. At the same time, the network began broadcasting in full color. Thus, it was the last national network to transition to color broadcasting. By then, it began expanding with the opening of provincial stations nationwide, including 2 stations in Cebu and Bacolod, who once owned by pre-martial law ABS-CBN. Following the People Power Revolution in 1986, on which it was taken over by pro-Corazon Aquino soldiers and supporters, it was, during that very historic event in national history, officially rebranded as People's Television. At the same time, it later became the national network for the broadcasts of the 1988 Summer Olympics along with RPN. On March 26, 1992, President Cory Aquino signed Republic Act 7306, turning PTV Network into a government corporation known formally as People's Television Network, Inc. Shortly after he took over the mantle of government in June 1992, President Fidel V. Ramos appointed PTV Network's first board of directors. The network was given a one-time equity funding for capital outlay. Since 1992, PTV has been operating on revenues it generates on its own. Republic Act 7306 stipulates that the government shall not appropriate funds for the operations of the network. PTNI is on full satellite transmission nationwide since 1992 using PALA-PSE2. Its flagship station, PTV4, which is based in Quezon City, boasts of a 40-kilowatt brand-new transmitter sitting on a 500-feet tower. With its 32 provincial stations across the country, the network has extended its reach and coverage to approximately 85% of the television viewing public nationwide. So far, PTNI has come up with the kind of programs that have earned for itself the Hall of Fame Award for Best Station and for Most Balanced Programming in 1987 and 2 succeeding years thereafter. For the Catholic Mass Media Awards, it has to its name several pioneering and award-winning educational, cultural and public service programs for the relevance and production excellence. In 1996, PTV won the award for Best TV Station ID in the PMPC Star Awards for television. PTNI has pioneered educational and cultural programming. Some of its award-winning programs were Telearela ng Kakayahan, Ating Alaman, Small World Kids Songs, For Art's Sake, Coast to Coast and Paco Park Presents. In the 1990s, at the core of its educational programming is the continuing education via television as CONSTEL, a program aimed at upgrading teaching skills of elementary and secondary teachers of science and English. Institutionalized by Department of Education, Culture and Sports, CONSTEL Science and English are being used in teacher training by the regional and divisional leader schools of the Department of Education, Culture and Sports and in teacher education institutions of the Commission on Higher Education. PTNI has also been the official broadcaster of major international sports competitions. It has covered the Olympic Games, starting with the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, except Barcelona Olympics in 1992, the Beijing Olympics in 2008, London Olympics in 2012 and the Rio Olympics in 2016. PTNI was the carrying station of the Southeast Asian Games in 1991, 1995, 2005, and 2007, missing in 2009. Asian Games from 1986 to 2006 and the IAAF World Championships in Athletics in 2007 and 2009. During these coverage, PTNI has received commendations from various sports organizations. In 1996, it received a presidential citation from then-President Fidel V. Ramos for the successful coverage of the Atlanta Olympic Games. On July 16, 2001, under the new management appointed by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, PTNI adopted the new image and name National Broadcasting Network, carrying a new slogan, "One People, One Nation, One Vision." For a new image in line with its new programming thrusts, they continued the new name until the present Aquino administration in 2010. NBN expanded its broadcast reach with the launching of NBN World on February 19, 2003 in cooperation with the Television and Radio Broadcasting Service. This global expansion signals new directions for NBN as it becomes accessible to the rest of the world, particularly the millions of Filipinos overseas. NBN can be seen in Australia, North America and the Asia-Pacific. NBN is previously transmitting via satellite nationwide using Agila 2, then moved to ABS1 last September 2011. Before the year 2010, NBN main studios in Quezon City and its regional stations in Baguio, Cebu and Naga will be equipped with the most modern news-gathering equipment for them to compete with the major television networks. Also, a new Harris transmitter has been installed. NBN's transmitter power shall be increased from 40 kilowatts to 60 kilowatts. NBN's digital channel is now available on channel 48, now moved to channel 42 using the Japanese digital TV standard. In 2011, NBN continued to enhance its digital broadcasting capabilities with equipment donated from the Japanese government. This equipment will also allow NBN to begin broadcasting emergency alerts when necessary. Although the branding is officially known as the National Broadcasting Network, in August 2011, the People's Television brand, which was retired in 2001, was reintroduced as a secondary brand until a few months later. PTNI became a primary brand, and the branding National Broadcasting Network was retired. On March 2013, President Benigno Aquino III signed Republic Act 10,390, superseding the old charter, in which the management will be under reorganization and the government will infuse P5 billion to PTV to revitalize the station and make it digital competitive, in spite of GMA Network's questionings of the law, fearing that it may enter competition. PTV has earned P59 million generated revenues for the first and second quarter of 2014. Under the new management, PTV has started the modernization program, including the acquisition of studio technical equipment, cameras, vehicles and high-powered transmitter for the main office in Visayas Avenue, Quezon City, together with few regional offices. Included in the plans is the rehabilitation of PTV stations in Naga, Baguio, Iloilo, Cebu, Zamboanga, Cotabato, Calbayog, Tacloban, Pagadian and Dumaguete. Despite being operated with little or no budget, The new PTV had still managed to cover the biggest events in the country, including the 2013 national and local elections, 2013 Central Visayas earthquake, Typhoon Ketsana, the visits of U.S. President Barack Obama and Pope Francis, the APEC Philippines 2015, and the 2016 national and local elections. It should be noted that in 2005, several Radio NBN programs were also aired on then NBN, with the Visayas Avenue studios used for some of them, under the Tinagang Bayan banner. In 2014, the partnership between the two was revived with an all-new morning news program, Radio Bizayan, which is also simulcast on IBC 13 and heard in Radio NBN stations nationwide, broadcasting from its own studios and the Radon Monoboride radio booth. Before the launch, Radon Monoboride, as part of the Philippine Broadcasting Service, had already, since 2012, been simulcasting news at 1 and news at 6 on radio in all its stations. Developments under the Duterte administration, under the guidance of Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andana, the network will undergo a major revitalization plan to improve the station's programming and expanding nationwide presence to being at par with the state media outfits BBC of United Kingdom, NHK of Japan, PBS of United States of America, CBC of Canada and ABC Australia, and to bring back its glorious years as one of the top 5 television networks in the country in the 1970s and 1980s. He will be also implement editorial independence in the station. Andana noted that teams from the state-owned network ABC and BBC will send to the Philippines to helping the PTV's revitalization plan. In July, President Rodrigo Duterte earlier stated that he will no longer conduct press conferences, and instead, the announcements and press releases will be aired through PTV. On the next month, his promise was retracted, and the press interviews and conferences resumed on the channel. On June 17, 2016, the PTV in Japan signed the 38.20 million yen worth of cultural grant aid and acquisition of programs from NHK to improve the network's overall programming. Within weeks, NHK's Japan Video Topics returned to the channel after several years. On July 7, 2016, PTNI chairperson Maria Cristina C. Mariano, PTNI vice chairperson Veronica Baluyu Jimenez, network general manager Alba D. Bocabo, and board directors Jose Maria Claro and Cindy Rochelle Igmit, who all appointed by the Aquino administration, tendered the resignation to Duterte through Andana. Andana also announced the appointment of Dino Apollonio, former vice president for production engineering of TV5, as the incoming network general manager. In his first State of the Nation address, President Duterte wants to pursue the creation of a law that will merge and integrate the People's Television Network and the Philippine Broadcasting Service into a single entity, called the People's Broadcasting Corporation, similar to the BBC. The proposed PBC will also launch the country's first specialty channel for the Muslim and Illumined people. PBC will also putting up broadcasting hubs in the Visayas and Mindanao regions, aside from the main headquarters in Luzon. Programming. PTV airs several news and public service shows, documentaries and other programs. PTV serves as the main television broadcast arm of the government. The network is a part of the messaging division of the government's newly formed Presidential Communications Group. Its programming is diverse from the other state-controlled network IBC, since PTV focuses on its function as the government's voice, while IBC is a general entertainment, sports channel due to its programming. PTV stations nationwide. PTV website. The PTV website is another initiative of People's Television Network to reach out to all Filipinos worldwide using the Internet. PTV features free live video streaming of PTV's flagship station programs from Quezon City, Philippines.